You were told your keyboard was designed to slow you down. That story is probably wrong. Nobody meant to cripple your hands. The tale gets repeated in classrooms, pub quizzes, and confident internet comments. Early typewriters jammed, so the keys were scrambled to make humans type slower. It is one of the most repeated design stories on Earth. It has just one problem. The evidence for it is embarrassingly thin. Tidy story, satisfying villain, and when researchers actually dug through the records, it started falling apart like a hairball of history. The people who genuinely studied the machines found something stranger. The layout may have been built for ears, not fingers. Hold that thought. Here is why you should care. You will tap this exact letter arrangement thousands of times today on glass screens no typewriter ever touched. Every text you send, every password you fumble, every furious email you delete, all of it runs through 6 letters chosen before light bulbs were common. An accident from the 1870s is fossilized in your pocket. Nobody voted on it. Nobody redesigned it. It simply refused to die. For the record, I have never jammed a machine. I sit on the entire keyboard at once. Full coverage. My messages are always received. So who really arranged your letters? 4 suspects are coming. A myth, a gun company, a duel in Cincinnati, and the strangest of all, dots and dashes. Part 1. The myth you were taught. It begins in 1868 with a Milwaukee printer named Christopher Latham Sholes and a machine that kept choking. Sholes built one of the first commercial typewriters. Inside it, metal arms called type bars swung up to stamp each letter onto the page. Type 2 neighboring arms too fast and they collided, tangled, and stuck. Every jam meant stopping, reaching in and prying metal apart with inky fingers. The famous story says Sholes scrambled the alphabet to slow typists down because slower fingers meant fewer jams. Sabotage is customer service, except the layout itself keeps snitching. E and R sit right next to each other, and they are one of the most common letter pairs in English. If the plan was separating common pairs, someone failed the assignment. Historians have also never found a single document where Sholes says slow them down. There is even a suspicious bonus feature. Every letter in the word typewriter sits on the top row. Handy if a salesman wants to show off. The slowdown story is not proven history. It is a legend that grew because it sounds clever at parties. I respect that. I also do not trust it, so if the machine did not shape your keyboard, something else did. Follow the money, and it leads to a factory that made guns. Part 2. The Gun Company. This is where a rifle maker from New York quietly decided how your thumbs would spend the next century and a half. In 1873, Sholes and his backers sold the typewriter rights to E. Remington & Sons, a firearms giant hunting for peacetime products to sell beside its sewing machines. Remington engineers tweaked the layout, shipped it, and moved on. The arrangement was not sacred, it was simply what left the factory that year. Then came the trap, and it was beautiful. Typing schools opened, and they taught on Remington machines because those were the machines that existed. Graduates could type fast, but only on this one layout. So offices bought the machines their new typists already knew, which trained more typists. Economists call this lock-in. Cats call it sitting in the box first. Once you are in, the box is yours and everyone else adjusts. Rival layouts appeared, some arguably better. It did not matter. The question was never which keyboard is best. It was which keyboard can your staff already use. By the 1880s, the letters were less a design and more a dialect. Millions of trained fingers spoke it fluently, and retraining them all would cost a fortune. Still, a standard needs a coronation. This one happened in Cincinnati in 1888 with 2 rivals, a crowd, and a stopwatch. Part 3. The Duel in Cincinnati. On July 25, 1888, 2 of the fastest typists in America sat down to settle the keyboard question in public. In one corner, Frank McGurran, a court stenographer from Salt Lake City who had done something almost nobody did. He memorized the entire keyboard. He typed with all 10 fingers without looking. Touch typing at the time, this was considered somewhere between a magic trick and a lie. In the other corner, Louis Traub on a calligraph, a rival machine with 72 keys, typing well but watching his hands the entire time. McGurran destroyed him. He won the $500 prize and the newspapers crowned his machine. A Remington with this exact letter arrangement, the fast one. Savor the irony. The keyboard supposedly built to slow typists down became famous by winning a speed contest. Legends, it turns out, have never needed logic to survive. The real winner was not even McGurran, it was the method. Typing schools everywhere began teaching all 10 fingers on the layout he had memorized. After Cincinnati, the letters were untouchable. But notice what we still have not answered. Why those letters in those spots in the first place? The strangest suspect is still waiting. It does not involve typists at all. It involves people who listen for a living. Part 4. The strangest theory of all. 2 researchers in Kyoto argue your keyboard was never designed for typing. It was shaped by sound. Koichi and Motoko Yasuoka of Kyoto University traced the earliest machines to their first real customers. Not writers, not offices, telegraph operators. Operators sat in noisy rooms turning live Morse code into text in real time with no pause button, no backspace, and absolutely no mercy. American Morse was full of sound-alikes. Certain letters were nearly identical at speed, and a distracted ear could hear one signal as 2 different things. The Yasuokas argue the keys drifted to serve those ears. Confusable letters huddled close together, so a guessing operator could correct fast without breaking rhythm. Take Z. In American Morse, it sounded like the pair SE. So Z sits within reach of S and E on your keyboard right now. Under this theory, nobody slowed anyone down. The layout evolved, customer by customer, like a river finding its path. Then Remington froze the river in place. It is contested, like all good history, but it explains the mess better than sabotage ever did. Machines built for ears, inherited by thumbs, which leaves one job. Someone has to stand in front of the evidence and deliver a verdict. Fine, I will do it, for one sardine. The verdict. Your keyboard looks like this because telegraph operators bent it around Morse code, and Remington locked it in before anyone could argue, not sabotage. Just early customers, a gun company with good timing, one loud victory in Cincinnati, and a planet far too busy to relearn typing. People tried to fix it. In 1936, August Dvorak patented a layout built for actual fingers. Studies were friendly. Offices shrugged. Habit won by a landslide. So today you carry a truce from the 1870s in your pocket. Every text message is you speaking fluent telegraph operator with your thumbs. Your fingers learned it, your phone kept it, and autocorrect now spends its life apologizing for a decision made before your great-great-grandparents met. Humans kept a random Victorian accident for 150 years because changing it felt like homework. Honestly, that is the most human fact in this entire weird story. Meanwhile, my own typing system remains undefeated. Every key at once, full body, 0 jams since 1868. You are welcome to keep practicing yours. Anyway, look at your keyboard tonight, top row, left side. That is not design, that is history refusing to move. I respect that deeply. That is the whole mystery. The keys are not slowing you down. History is subscribe or do not. I am a cat.